Well, I played with the Altona Maroons in the Southeastern Hockey League. Well, originally I was a backup goalkeeper for the Maroons, and I really didn't expect to play because they had a pretty good goalkeeper, but he also had some difficulty with a little too much beer. And one evening, I was minding my own business, and the fellows running the team at the time said, today you're playing because the other guy wasn't sober. So that's how I got into the first game. And so, but I don't particularly remember the first game. No, just sort of just evolved. The caliber it's hard to say what the caliber was like. It was very competitive, and the equipment was not as good, obviously, because, as I said before, we weren't wearing helmets. None of the players wore helmets. And, so the style was different, but it was always very competitive, and the rivalry between the communities was intense. So it was a lot of fun, and the communities really got behind you. Players like returning pros like Jimmy McFadden, those were always impressive. Tom Rocky, who had a few games with the Montreal Canadiens, came back to play, and he was very impressive. He was also later a coach. And there were Collins brothers from Pilot Mound that were impressive. Jim Moore was a very impressive. There was a fellow by the name of Black who played for the Pilot Mound Pilots, had only one eye. He had gone to semi-pro and got hurt. And it's amazing what he could do, having vision only on one eye. So those are the kind of things I remember. Not during my playing career, but during my managing career, the Maroons won a lot of titles, yes. The most memorable playing moment was after I had retired playing and was just managing the Maroons. And one night we were playing the Miami Rockets, and Jimmy Mutchison was their goalkeeper. He was coming in from Winnipeg. For some reason, he didn't make it. And so, the arena is full of fans, and so I go to the Miami dressing room and say, what's taking you guys so long? And so Jimmy McFadden was then playing. He says, we have no goalkeeper. So in those days, you didn't carry a backup. So he says, we have no goalkeeper. I said, we got to do something. We have a full house here. He says, well, we have an idea. You play for us. So, okay, so I put on the pads, played for the Miami Rockets that day against the Altona Maroons. And as a Miami goalkeeper that day, we lost. Miami lost 3-2 to the Maroons, but we almost knocked the Maroons off that day. So that was an interesting and most memorable event for me because, and it was interesting for the crowd to get involved with that game then because, for me to be in the other end of the nets was sort of a unique thing, but that was the most interesting event that took place. For many years it was the Winkler Royals, but then later it was the Morden Bombers, which were the real rivals, and that created a lot of heat, and those are still rivals to this day, really. And then for a number of years it was the Oakville Seals, because and also the Carmen Beavers. So the Maroons had many. There was a string of years where the final series always went 7 games, and occasionally to 8, because there was a time where the league decided the series would be decided by points, not by games. And so, there was a tie. They would only play 1 period, and then so there was a couple of series that actually went to 8 games. So those were exciting times, and a lot of heat was generated between the communities. To move into another level, no, I never had that because by and large our team was made up of men that were working, had jobs, and in some cases kids in grade 12. So it was more something we enjoyed doing, and we were happy to be able to do it locally. And so the idea of, should we go somewhere else, I think that wasn't on our radar.